The crystalline halls of the Valkyrie Palace echoed with urgent whispers. Queen Sarasva stood frozen in the diplomatic chamber, her four eyes widening in disbelief at her daughter's words. "Mother, I want the scary human to tuck me in tonight," Princess Lyratil repeated, her small voice unwavering despite the gasps from the assembled courtiers. Commander Rain Carter stood at attention near the chamber's entrance, her combat armor still bearing scorch marks from the morning's battle. She was here to report on the defense of the palace against the Kresh raiders, not to become entangled in royal family matters. The human soldier's scarred face remained impassive, though her jaw tightened slightly. "Lyra, darling," the queen began, her translucent skin shifting through shades of purple, a sign of distress among her people. "The human commander is a warrior. She has duties. She cannot—" "But she saved me," Lyratil interrupted, something rarely tolerated in the royal court. "When the bad ones came, she carried me to safety. She wasn't scary then." Rain's mind flashed back to 3 hours earlier. The Kresh had breached the eastern wing, their weapons cutting through palace guards like paper. She'd found the princess cowering in a study, too terrified to move. Without hesitation, Rain had scooped up the child and ran, firing her pulse rifle one-handed while whispering reassurances in a language the girl couldn't understand but somehow comprehended. The queen descended from her dais, her flowing robes trailing across the luminescent floor. She approached Rain carefully, as one might approach a coiled serpent. The Valkyrie had allied with humans out of necessity, not trust. Humans were known throughout the galaxy as relentless, frighteningly efficient fighters, survivors of a death world who'd clawed their way to the stars. "Commander Carter," Queen Sarasva said formally, "my daughter makes an unusual request. I would not normally impose on your time, but she has been through trauma today. If you would consent to this kindness, I would be in your debt." Rain met the queen's gaze. She'd faced plasma fire, hostile environments, and creatures that would make most species flee in terror. But the eyes of a mother protecting her child? That was universal. "Your Majesty, I would be honored," Rain replied, her deep voice softening slightly. An hour later, after debriefing and a hasty wash, Rain found herself in the most surreal situation of her military career. The princess's chambers were a wonderland of bioluminescent plants and floating crystals that chimed softly in some unfelt breeze. Lyratil sat on her sleeping platform, her large eyes fixed on Rain with fascination rather than fear. "Why do others call you scary?" Lyratil asked as Rain awkwardly lowered herself to sit beside the platform. Rain considered the question. "I suppose because humans look different. We come from a difficult world. We had to become strong to survive." "You have only 2 eyes," Lyratil observed, tilting her head. "That seems hard." A smile tugged at Rain's lips despite herself. "We manage. And your skin doesn't change colors to show feelings." "No, it doesn't." "That must be lonely," the princess said with the innocent wisdom of children everywhere. "Not being able to show people what you feel inside." Rain's throat tightened unexpectedly. When had anyone last considered what she felt inside? In the military, emotions were tactical liabilities. In combat, they got you killed. "Sometimes," Rain admitted quietly. "But we show feelings in other ways." "How?" Rain thought back to her own childhood, to her mother's weathered hands smoothing her hair before sleep. "Well, on Earth, human parents often tuck their children into bed at night. It's a way of saying, 'You're safe, I'm here, I care about you,' without words." Lyratil's eyes brightened, literally with bioluminescence.
"Like what you did today."
"When you carried me, you kept saying sounds. I didn't know the words, but I knew what they meant." "Yeah, kid. Exactly like that. Will you show me? The tucking in?" Rain carefully adjusted the thermal blankets around the small form, her calloused hands gentle despite their capacity for violence. She remembered the technique from a lifetime ago before the military, before she'd become the weapon everyone feared. "There's a tradition," Rain said softly, "where we tell stories before sleep. Would you like that?" Lyratil nodded eagerly. Once upon a time, on a blue world called Earth, there was a little girl who was afraid of the dark. Rain spoke of constellations and courage, of facing fears and finding strength. Her voice, usually commanding troops or delivering tactical reports, became something else. Warm, protective, almost musical. She spoke until Lyratil's eyes began to dim, the child's breathing slowing into the rhythm of sleep. "Commander?" Lyra Till murmured, already half dreaming. Yes, you're not scary. You're safe. Rain sat there for a long moment after the princess slept, something unfamiliar stinging her eyes. She'd been called many things, warrior, killer, humanity's sharp edge against the darkness. But safe, that was new. She found the queen waiting outside the chambers, her skin now a soft amber, peace and gratitude. She is asleep, Rain reported. I watched through the observation crystal, the queen admitted. Commander, I owe you an apology. We feared you because we did not understand. Humans are fierce, yes, but I see now that fierceness comes from the same place as your gentleness, from caring so deeply that you would fight the universe itself to protect those you love. Rain stood straighter. Your Majesty, my species learned long ago that real strength isn't about being the most fearsome. It's about choosing when to fight and when to comfort. Any creature can destroy. It takes something more to build, to heal, to tuck a scared child into bed. The queen's skin rippled with colors Rain had never seen before. Profound respect mixed with something that might have been hope. Perhaps, Queen Sarasva said thoughtfully. The galaxy needs more scary humans like you, Commander Carter. As Rain walked back through the crystalline halls, her armor still bearing the marks of battle, she allowed herself a small smile. Tomorrow there would be more fights, more worlds to defend, more reasons to be the fearsome human the galaxy expected. But tonight she'd been something more important. Tonight she'd been safe.